everyone, welcome back. Thanks for watching those ads. We are in the next lobby. It is going to be NaTuRal versus INnoVation.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about this one. Again, I think a lot of us know and expect INnoVation to win, and that's not something I'm going to try and hype up here, but I do think it'll be cool to see how NaTuRal holds up, considering he has been on a tear and showing us absolutely fantastic games from a rather unexpected and unknown player.
There's certainly something to be said about, like, INnoVation, top dog, top Korean ladder, blah, 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 facing off against someone like NaTuRal. That's right, I said it. But, like, he might super underestimate his opponent. I actually feel like that's a big factor into why we were so impressed with Chan Kim. We underestimated him. His opponent at the time, I forget who it was some really good Terran player. Underestimated him, didn't really know him, and then had to be like, oh shit, like he actually like knows what to do and what to do to defend. Let's reevaluate this. Oh, we'll see. Like New Gettysburg, decent macro map, but TvT, that doesn't mean anything. All right, like this could be one base versus one base. We'll see in just a minute here. In the bottom left, as the blue Terran, he is NaTuRal.
And newcomer to the Olimoleague. Never heard of this guy before. We'll see if he's got what it takes. He's not even highly ranked on the Korean server. It's the red Terran player INnoVation. INnoVation?
This would be a lot better if he wasn't literally using an English word.
Yeah. Oh, it's INnoVation!
Alright, so I mean, I wasn't just throwing out there that this is a, you know, TvT and it could be whatever. Like, literally, TvT usually is one person goes for one base, the other person goes for a natural command center, a Reaper expand. Sometimes you have one base versus one base. Sometimes you do have a passive game. And New Gettysburg certainly could have been that passive Korean TvT that is like, I don't know, it's like a finding a super rare Pokemon or something. Like, it's not supposed to be that common, but NaTuRal did go for a gas first, expecting to provide the aggression, whereas INnoVation is the one that's going to be defending. But NaTuRal, he is going to go for a command center, it looks like. Did he go for a gas first? I actually might have misread that, because I was looking at his base, like this, and look at his production. I don't think he did, never mind. No, yeah he did, he has 50 more gas. Alright, well, he's going to have, I think, still the little bit faster tech. And could go for... Yeah, there's the factory. I was going to say second Reaper, actually. Go for the Hellion push, but we will see. It's going to be a reactor? Reaper? Factor?
For me, keeping eyes on NaTuRal too, like, can he keep up with INnoVation's macros? I think where this TvT is going to come down to. Obviously, it doesn't open with cheese. We're not going to see the 2 Reaper Hellion push be what ends the game on New Gettysburg of all maps, but I am really curious, like, once we get past this point, will INnoVation just skyrocket ahead in macro, or can NaTuRal keep up with them? This first fight almost goes badly for him, actually.
Oh, this is super awkward. He got one Marine, but that's not very helpful. Oh god, he cancels the reactor. Oh no, this is already going super poorly.
Forget what I said. Is this how the game ends? Not with a bang, but a whisper? One Reaper and one SCV?
If INnoVation was following up with a faster factory and Hellions, it would be over, but he is also stalled out on production. I mean, this is devastating. It really is not that the command center finished. That's terrible, but it's not over.
Yeah, he really couldn't get down here till the Hellion was out. The Marine was just not going to do enough on its own, so finally gets here to clean that up. This is something that is going to set him off for like 15 seconds, and I gotta be honest, there's going to be some tilt factor in there for sure.
Combat drugs? Nope. Okay, well, that is a little bit of revenge, I suppose. Mental victory on the command center finishes up. NaTuRal, though, I thought he was the one that was going to be a little more aggressive, but his plans probably really changed. So he actually gets a Cyclone, which can be very difficult to use offensively in TvT. In TvP, the base units of Protoss are usually, they're so expensive and they're slow at the beginning that, like, going out on the map on this could guarantee you a pretty expensive kill. Versus Terran, you know, obviously INnoVation has a couple Marines, right? The Cyclone locked onto a Marine is not going to be too great.
I would actually imagine right now NaTuRal's going to be a little bit worried. That start didn't, as you pointed out, like, it didn't take him out of the game. It didn't put him super far behind. But now you're worried that your air is a little bit behind theirs. You're worried that they're going for a cloaked Banshee, which we're seeing more and more of lately in TvT. So either way, the Cyclone just in general is a pretty smart move. The fact that he's got the Raven following it up, though, this is just screaming paranoia defense.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. He would have like a super solid defense, but you know, INnoVation, I think he went for his own Cyclone. Yeah, there it is. It's moving across the map, in fact. There is a chance this finds like a Viking or Raven, and that is a very effective use of the Cyclone, but I think he just knows that he's pretty in control. He is using it for just scouting right now. He takes advantage of the fact that he saw NaTuRal Cyclone, I feel, and just goes for a third CC on location. Like, I think he's recognized that NaTuRal feels pretty paranoid, defensive. And even though NaTuRal is going for attacking units now, like this Banshee, it's going to be later, you know? INnoVation's going to have units to actually spread around his bases. He's going to have Vikings to spread around his bases.
By the way, big thank you to Robbie Blitz for the 7-month sub. It's funny, because I always think back, like, the rare times I've gotten to cast INnoVation, it's been things like the Acer Team Story Cup and what have you, and other small occasions where TvT really was, like, back in the day, who gets the Banshee out first? You got the Banshee out first, you won the game. This is, you know, between Cyclones out on the map, Vikings, Marines in well position, predicting what's going to go on. Like, Banshees aren't really that big of a deal anymore. And frankly, I don't know if NaTuRal's going to get really anything done with this. And not necessarily because of the Vikings, but yeah, INnoVation patrolling the middle of the map with the Cyclone. He's ready to intercept anything he can. The Banshee is going to try and predict that there's going to be anti-air in the south, so it goes north. We'll quite pass over the...
I mean, INnoVation scanned the Banshee, which it's not even cloaked, so it's like a give and take, I feel, for NaTuRal. Not invested in a cloak, but it is a later Banshee, so like the thing is, it might have gotten a couple of kills, but the lack of cloak means that it was never going to be truly devastating. It provides a little bit more of like a presence, but only if there weren't any Vikings.
I love presence, that'd be great.
Yeah, right? Presence. Same thing. But the Vikings will go ahead and just turn that away, and this is going to be quite the useless Banshee.
For the time being, I actually think, and we've talked about this before, sometimes this can really get nice positioning to force out siege tanks out of position. Usually you can't really afford Liberators, you're putting so much money into Vikings and medevacs and whatnot that, seriously, one Banshee can do a great job to try and help unsiege a position. That being said, we're not seeing siege tanks really made too much just yet, just kind of an adequate amount. No 2 factories for anybody this early in the game.
I would say just because it is a cloakless Banshee, because that's the one hope, especially after seeing so many Vikings, is that they don't have a scan, and then, yeah, they can reposition the tanks, but if NaTuRal wants that Banshee to help out at all, he will have to cover it with his own Vikings, and he is getting his own Vikings. INnoVation stopped producing them, so he might even just straight up win the Viking War.
Yo, I like this too, because he did go for that Raven early on. He was paranoid of his opponent having a Banshee. He didn't want to burn a bunch of scans. And that Raven is going to have almost full energy by the time they're ready to fight. That means 2-point defense drones, a lot of auto turrets. Hell, if you want to be really risky, a Seeker Missile or 2 as well. Either way, all of those things equate to winning the air war.
Quick check on the income graph shows that INnoVation, yeah, he has been winning. In fact, he's winning pretty hardcore right now. He's had the third CC up longer on location and smoother saturation. I don't think he's ever been up like 20 SCVs, but everything has just gone like pretty swimmingly for INnoVation here. His reaction to NaTuRal's position based off his initial attack, that, you know, was actually kind of lucky. If NaTuRal defends that as he should, you know, he has the Marine, he has a Reaper, should beat 1 Reaper, right? It's not quite the same game, but INnoVation has really just run away with it, and his army supply is starting to reflect his income advantage. He's got better upgrades because he went for double engineering bays immediately with the 3cc, and he has better army supply. He's going to have faster combat shields as well. And the only thing he's missing, he's not so great against, would be the air control. But a Cyclone gets a lock-on on the Raven. Like, that's exactly what you want. And that Viking control is no longer guaranteed.
It had like 60% energy left too. Feels bad, man.
Oh boy, that is... I think he did it on purpose, too, because of course he had the Zelnaga, he saw the army, I think, but... You know, like, you always hope that it just catches, like, a stupid Marine or something. Not too useful.
No, I think that's some target fire for certain. Tank gets picked off, too. NaTuRal is just falling apart little bit by little bit here.
Yeah. It really, a lot of it comes down to the first engagement with that Reaper. Like, it screwed up NaTuRal's plans, it screwed up his macro game.
Screwed up his NaTuRal.
Hey, it forced him into a defensive position because he couldn't get any scouting and he didn't want to burn a scan. I mean, he's not playing terribly after that, okay? Because that was unfortunately a terrible defense for him. But it is just a case of being out macroed and out maneuvered and out positioned because his presence on the map, was not so great. Engagement goes down, but INnoVation wins it so hardcore. Oh god.
That I had to do a double check there. Like, did INnoVation have an upgrade lead? I'm like, why did that go so one-sidedly? But it's just INnoVation, man.
Well, he also has 8 tanks to 4, and they were down while NaTuRal was trying to
That's true.
respond,
Yeah, a lot of
so-
extra splash damage going into that.
Yeah, that was just a better engagement overall, and I'm like, NaTuRal's not playing a terrible game, but he is playing one where he just cannot get grasp over it, you know? Like, the handle is entirely in INnoVation's hand right now, and NaTuRal's trying his best to get something back. But
wonder-
unless he can get, like, a good Doom drop or something, INnoVation should just be super comfortable.
So we don't know NaTuRal well enough to guess at this, but I do wonder if there's also an element of like, oh, I'm playing Senpai right now.
Possibly. Possibly. I really want to see what the next game looks like. I assume that INnoVation's going to win, not going to lie. When NaTuRal doesn't lose such timing in the first 2 minutes of the game, you know, like that would mess up a lot of people, especially in a cutthroat game like TvT, where INnoVation also just responded perfectly past the Reaper engagement. This attack is what I was talking about. Like, if you can get a Doom drop, if you can get a regular drop that just forces INnoVation to look elsewhere, you know, the comfortability that INnoVation probably has been feeling for the last 10 minutes, it disappears a little bit. Maybe he makes a couple of indecisive maneuvers, but it's coming way too late. He no longer has to be decisive, he just simply has a bigger army, and he could probably just move in here. There's not enough tanks.
I mean, NaTuRal's killing a lot of SCVs inside INnoVation's NaTuRal base, and maybe he even kills that command cert. He's giving pretty good chase to it, but over here on this side of the map, INnoVation is pushing into NaTuRal's base. NaTuRal's NaTuRal, if you will. This CC looks like it is definitely going to go down. INnoVation's got more units. He should be able to push through. If this is a base race and not just a base trade, INnoVation's going to be pedaling a lot faster.
Yeah, he also didn't get into production, NaTuRal that is, so this has been a very poor start to even a closer base race than it was.
Still, he did manage to take down INnoVation's NaTuRal, and that probably made him feel a little more confident, but as we saw, he assessed the situation, and sadly, that's going to be game.
Yeah. Very curious to see the next one, though. Like, I really believe that NaTuRal is unable to show his best game, best TvT versus INnoVation.
I was looking at the bracket, by the way, and I really would love to see INnoVation versus Super. I know that everyone's still going to lean towards INnoVation on that one, but for me, that's just extra special because we've seen Super win so much of our stuff against other Koreans. I'm very excited to see how we do against INnoVation.
Sure, sure. I would also really give with INnoVation. But I was looking at the bracket myself, and Keen 2-0'd Reality, which I thought was pretty impressive. Reality does play mech in TvT, which is always something to consider, but he's also usually pretty damn good with it. Oh, I didn't realize that Stats had actually shown up. That's
Who?
super cool. Stats.
Oh, where's he in the bracket?
Middle.
Oh, playing someone named Simon, yeah.
Yeah, so, if I had to guess, yeah, Stats definitely gets to at least the round of 8, but I would think that he even beats Keen in the semifinals, unless he's terrible online, which I'm always going to be very paranoid about, like, okay, if this is Pro League, and they're heading, you know, going at each other, like, offline, then Stats wins always, but online, there's definitely a difference.
Well, next map's going to be on Frozen Temple.
Yes, NaTuRal's map choice. He might have chosen this to try and cheese out INnoVation if he really did feel truly overwhelmed last game. Again, it was a bad start, but there's also certainly something we said about just facing INnoVation in general. Or he just is comfortable on this map. Because with TvT, yeah, maps can help your particular style, but it is a mirror matchup, and there's no inherent advantage. I actually kind of hope that INnoVation goes for the cheese instead. Like, gotcha!
Oh, is the end of, yeah, he'll be like, oh, you picked the map that I wanted to cheese on. Excellent.
Right? Well, it's game number 2, and in the top left, down 1, he is the blue Terran NaTuRal.
And his opponent's spawning opposite of him. I'll give him proper introduction this time. It's going to be the one, the only, the true badass of Terran. The red INnoVation.
Amazing. Truly amazing. Well, it's a gas first INnoVation this time, so maybe you will get more aggressive. NaTuRal's still waiting. He's gonna go for barracks. Yeah, okay. Any extra barracks? Any extras? Just have to wait a minute. Probably not.
I mean, if I had to guess, because INnoVation is very much in my mind not a super cheesy, like, we've seen him bust out cheese from time to time.
Oh, there it is! Ah, I got 100 tomorrows. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Now, I feel like if you're gonna cheese INnoVation on Frozen Temple because you chose the map, you just gotta go with, like, the ultimate cheese, okay? So, like, a 3 racks, I would have said, but also proxied would have been really funny as well. But that's not the case. It is just
Don't
a 2 racks,
half-ass
in
it is what I'm
fact.
hearing.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because INnoVation did not end up scouting with an SCV too early, only just now. And you imagine, like, that would have had the first racks done. The second racks would have been able to complete. So, it might have been able to work. He does block them off, but this, you know, seeing a supply depot like this does, you know that they didn't go for a CC unless they're super paranoid and put it on the high ground, which doesn't really happen in, you know, pro TvT that often. Did he? Whoa. Okay, I think I just missaw that. Never mind. Anyways, the second barracks is almost done. INnoVation, though, it says it's not proxy. Since it is 2 barracks, even though INnoVation went for the command center, I mean, his factory should still be able to finish. He'd still be able to get a Hellion out. Yes, he will probably have to pull SCVs at least once. I don't think he's gonna die to this.
Well, for NaTuRal, of course, one of the biggest aspects of this is not having this Reaper fight go too terribly. He's got to really make up for that last game.
Yeah, he does. I can actually use Reapers, I swear. Oh, man. I love it, like...
Oh,
Maybe I
well,
should
you
use
look the way he
secondary
killed
scout.
the Reaper, and it's kind of a
shit.
big deal.
Well, I didn't expect him to lose the Reaper, but he dived for the SCV, which was in... Like, NaTuRal, like, that was pretty greedy of him to do that. You go for a 2 racks opener... Losing a single Reaper is huge because it's supposed to snowball. So diving on top of economy or on top of the SCV, you should know they're gonna be able to get it before you do that. But this SCV was getting a secondary scout, which actually got into the main base to see exactly what was gonna be put down, which I thought was pretty important as well. Reaper fight over here, but INnoVation has held and then some, and NaTuRal's follow-up isn't looking so scary. I mean, especially since INnoVation now has the high ground on the ramp. His grenade should buy him a lot more time. He did get a second Hellion. In fact, going for a reactor right now is going to be getting definitely enough Hellions to deal with this. Oh, NaTuRal tries to circumvent. Doesn't super work out. INnoVation. Yeah, he saw the main base, so he knows the command center is going to be delayed no matter what. And while he's not mining off of his NaTuRal quite yet, he still should be able to rally, you know, the SCVs down and, yeah, get that better income going, which he has already. NaTuRal, by the way, just committing to more and more Reapers. I feel like he's going for the surprise factor. Like, bam! 8 Reapers in your face. You didn't expect that, did you? To be fair, INnoVation might not, but he's got 4 Hellions. He had a concave. He's now chasing the Reapers, which is pretty bold. But since he has a reactored factory, even if he loses a handful of Hellions, he'll be able to produce them again and not die to, you know, leftover Reapers. I'm not even sure you originally planned on going for a factory with a reactor, but now I wonder if he's gonna go for mech. I don't know, I'll pick it.
Mech is asking a lot, I feel, but it works, and we've seen it work.
Yeah, I mean, reality does it. Like, he actually goes for
It's-
mech, like, every single game in TvT, and INnoVation can do it.
Everything INnoVation's opened with here, unit design-wise, is actually something that goes along the lines of mech. The problem is, though, this might not have been because he wanted to go mech. This may have just been entirely because he's worried about these Reapers getting out of hand. As he gives chase in the middle of the map, Reapers are getting picked off. Couple grenades hitting these Hellions, but really nothing too massive.
Yeah, I saw the tech lab go down in the barracks, but he just swapped it over with the starport for the Raven, so it is going to be mech. And we still can never really be truly sure that he wanted to go for Reactor Hellions or he wanted to go for mech, but he has responded to NaTuRal's opener and then some. Once again, taking control over the game. Okay, that's a little over-aggressive, takes a lot of heat on his Hellions, but those aren't too expensive. NaTuRal, in fact, takes a bit of a lead here, which is kind of funny. Liberator sieges up, gonna kill mules. That's pretty nice. Does get denied. Hopefully NaTuRal recognized how many Hellions that was and bothers scouting if he just doesn't assume that it's gonna be mech.
So mech is it's in like a really weird spot though, where when it works well, it looks broken as hell, and you're like, why do more people not go for this? On the other hand, though, it's hard to get to that point, and while it's certainly exciting to see INnoVation bust this out, it's also not a guaranteed win by any means.
No. But having that early game lead always helps with mech, because the early game and early mid game, usually where it's pretty weak, you don't have enough units to quite spread around, they have to be together or they are going to get picked apart, and he just doesn't have to worry about that super much, because NaTuRal doesn't have stim, doesn't have combat shields. If he does push out, Hellions should be able to take care of it. Well, you don't see too many Hellion versus Cyclone engagements, but with that many Hellions, and with how little health the Cyclone has, it does go in favor of INnoVation. Reaper dies as well. At this point, it's confirmed. Regardless of if he's seen the factories or not, he saw the Viking count, he saw, of course, there's more Hellions built. He's trying to get a lead, and he just about gets one. It's still pretty close time thirds after all, but it's a little bit in his favor. He's gonna get faster upgrades, double upgrades too, but this is all stuff that in a perfect world is already like halfway done, is already on location, saturated, and you're starting to use your increased production to really pull INnoVation apart, but instead, NaTuRal's like chasing a barracks with 3 Marines. Not too impressive.
Gotta shut down that scouting, man.
Clearly, yeah. That's why INnoVation put the Widow Mine right there. He knew it was gonna happen. And not too many tanks, but, you know, with the Viking, with the air control, this can do a lot of damage. NaTuRal anticipates it, sets up with his own tanks, which he did bother getting. I don't think he's investing too much more into, though. Well, he's not producing it. You still have a factory in a tech lab.
Right now, all these tech labs coming down, very important, by the way. No way for Marines to fight against Hellions, especially because you have to simply assume it's going to be Blue Flame paired up with it at some point.
Yep. INnoVation, yeah, I was going to say, can definitely go for Medivacs. Viking control is solid in his favor. And while it's possible that NaTuRal is going for a tricky little, you know, actually I have 3 starports and I'm bulking up Vikings as well, it's a dangerous maneuver. It's not super common, although Ryung did it twice, I think, versus reality. And you can almost safely assume, if you see this much bio, that if they're gonna start transitioning, it's not, you know, you're still gonna have the lead for a while. So the Medivacs just have nothing to really compete with them. Although, this focus fire gets one of them.
The Vikings get a almost fully loaded Medivac 2 right there at the very end.
Yeah, so end up going better for INnoVation.
Yeah, again, NaTuRal with these little tiny mistakes here and there. Not any one thing is costing him the game, but after 3 or 4 of these tiny little mistakes, it starts getting really bad for him. As again, for mech, one of the big things you're hoping to do as bio is still maintain better production, right? Like, INnoVation's not going to have 9 factories down. The fact that factories cost gas just means that's not a possibility. So at every point in the game, NaTuRal should ideally, in hypothetical best case scenarios, have more army, and better production. And that's not actually what we're seeing right now.
Who scanned? It's NaTuRal. Oh, he scanned a main? Okay, well, someone scanned. He is going to the main, though, and there's surprisingly no defenses. Attacks over here, not too impressive. Wasn't going to ever get much done, but was looking to distract.
And unfortunately, though, INnoVation's on. This Blue Flame Hellion's coming back. Not tanks inside those medevacs. easily deals with the drops.
Mm-hmm. And NaTuRal, I mean, this is all some nice things to do. Unfortunately, losing the Medivacs is not ideal. Keeping tabs on your opponent, seeing what their army composition looks like specifically.
Oh,
all important stuff. He needs to get maxed out before INnoVation does, and he's not quite doing that.
He's given away a lot of Medivacs, by the way. Something which I wouldn't even... I can't even say he can afford to reproduce right now.
He's using Starport. I don't know. It's just that INnoVation, if he gets maxed at the same time as NaTuRal, that means he can push, and Frozen Temple's not that big of a map. So if NaTuRal can't respond with like a bigger army before all the tanks are nice and set up, all the Vikings are covering the Medivacs, etc., then he's just going to get pushed back by what is a superior mech army. When it's maxed out, it does take a lot of really good positioning, or maybe your own air switch, to comfortably push it back.
I just, without some sort of surround, without some sort of like catching INnoVation in the middle of transition, because I mean, the thing we need to keep in mind, INnoVation's not putting siege tanks in those Medivacs every single time. It's Hellbats. It's Blue Flame Hellbats. He wants to be able to drop those on top of the army because those would do so much more damage than unloading siege tanks. So the tank army's a little bit vulnerable because it's not already sieged up. You know that a portion of the army's also in the air, needs to unload. I mean, there's something here that NaTuRal could work around. Unfortunately, though, I don't think he's identified any weaknesses in his opponent's play so far.
The only weakness I would say is that INnoVation is not attacking, which is not really a weakness. It's a choice by INnoVation to continue on the game until he's maxed out, which he is now. But
ooh, I like this drop. Unfortunately, though, with those two turrets, all the Medivacs go down for it. It makes it not really worth it. Two of them barely survive, but they're not going to survive for long. The Vikings come in to clean up the rest.
Surprised. Not only see a kill on a command center, but the SCV lives. That's weird. So it's just awkward, like what happened. But the Hellbat drops, that's what I was paying attention to, because the army, of course, is already weakened. It was stimmed, it had no Medivacs. The tanks come in now, too, and INnoVation, I feel, should use this engagement to go ahead and push and probably win. NaTuRal, a lot of his army supply, every single time we've seen his bio push out, has been in tanks that are defensive at home. So he has army supply left over, but it does mean that he's just defensive right now. There's no other drops going on anywhere. He's trying to get kind of a hidden base. That's cool, but he's forced to stay back.
Quick shout outs go to Kiwi and Metros for the 16-month resub. Thank you for supporting the channel for 16 months.
Woo! INnoVation, he saw how many tanks there was, and like not gonna push into that. I especially like that NaTuRal went for missile turrets, because I think that definitely stopped INnoVation from pushing in. Without missile turrets, the Hellbat drops would probably... It still would have been really risky for him to push in, but it was something he could have done. If his Medivacs are going to go down, though, I think not. And he's going to have to find another position to try and attack into. I'm surprised he chooses the middle of the map. That's not going to be any more useful. Okie dokie, then. Really? Middle of the map? Yeah, okay. He sees, I guess, now accurately just how many tanks there are, plus his base gonna get attacked. NaTuRal, with some nice pressure on the fourth base, has now effectively stopped INnoVation from using it for like 3-4 minutes. I mean, he's tried to rebuild this thing a couple of different times. Every single time NaTuRal does this, he does lose a chunk of his bio army, and he has to make sure that he can replace it. If at any point he stops expanding, he stops transferring his SCVs, he loses 40 SCVs, something like that, and he can't build another army, those attacks are no longer worth it. But for now, it's certainly what a bio player is supposed to be able to do, and that's replace what they lost. But the tanks are coming now.
This is nice to see that line of tanks out. Unfortunately, the south side doesn't appear to be distracting long enough, big enough, and it is actually allowing NaTuRal to get in position. I didn't think it would. INnoVation's going to be caught between 2 points. He's boosting it with those Hellbats. The drops on top of the tanks. Not sure if that'll be enough. Liberators in the sky might be. You'll note there's not that many Marines left anymore, so nothing to shoot the sky down.
Yeah, this is now the biggest problem for NaTuRal. He does have a lot of extra money. In fact, he even has a bit of extra gas. He could try and transition into his own Vikings to secure his tanks, but yeah, those tanks go down pretty quickly to even just 2 Liberators. Drops cleaned up over here. INnoVation did secure this base. Finally, tanks, missile turrets, planetary, everything. And just took out a large chunk of NaTuRal's army once again. So he's going to push forward. The tanks aren't here. They can't defend anymore. They got to get back into position if they're going to hope to do so. Maybe if he had taken down the rocks, he would already be there. Or maybe if he had done this first. Oh, a little indecisive. He is going to go for the attack, and it's going to get into a little bit of a base trade. I don't know if that's the best move. It might be. Oh, no, he's going to catch reinforcements. Which is a good 2 tanks.
It's so awkward that they're both on the opposite ends of the middle of the map right now. I think if NaTuRal were to come around back home, he could have completely surrounded this, but it's not going to be the case. Trying to fight the front lines, he's going to focus on these Hellbats and run away. He is coming back home from the behind now, and INnoVation might just get flanked.
Is it too late, though? I mean, he's going to go up the ramp.
Well, he's forcing tanks to fire 2 different directions at the same time is always a nice feeling, but you're right, it might just have been a little bit too late. He can't drop on top of them. He thinks it's a great idea, but the Liberator kills anything that comes out of the medevac, and those tanks go down.
Yeah. It looks like ultimately INnoVation's air is what wins him the game.
Absolutely.
As NaTuRal was doing a really decent job. He was out expanding him. He was out upgrading him. He had an interesting composition with as many tanks as he got, but it was working. He just couldn't deal with the air. Liberator's good unit. I think that's gonna be it. NaTuRal doesn't have any drops that I can see. He does have extra bases, but once his production's camped, doesn't matter.
That army supply is hard to look at too in this situation. Oh, again, always just talking about like how much Terra needs to be ahead when they're playing Bio versus other Terra playing Mech. Not happening here for NaTuRal. I want to play some confidence in this game though. Look at all these bases. Look at the way he's expanded. I mean, NaTuRal tried to take control of the map in a lot of ways outside of the army engagements. And I like the thought process, and I certainly like the macro. But man, you're coming up against the steel god INnoVation. There's just no way. Just no way.
Yeah. Single, lonely, small drop. Is all NaTuRal has to really micro. Planetary production. Oh.
That Marauder Marine combo on the main, man. They're bros for life. No! Stupid tank. Don't split up the family.
Oh, so what are you yelling at? Oh, it's safe. It's fine. It's fine. Well, there it is. GG. I'm happy that NaTuRal got to show his stuff, though. Like, he actually made that into more of a game than I expected for his opener kind of failing.
It's just so unfortunate that first game went the way it did. I really feel like that set the tone as well for some of those. Like, I'm not saying, oh my god, he lost the Reaper and the SCV and like that screwed him up and he was so on tilt. Like, no, far from that. But it is a shame because I would have loved to have seen him play at his absolute best and calmest and just truest form against somebody like INnoVation.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's going to send us into the next series. INnoVation will be facing the winner of Trust versus Super, which totally be okay with casting.
Yeah, so we had planned to follow INnoVation, and we had a backup plan even, but then the backup plan fell through. So we're gonna just hope to catch INnoVation's next game. I think is the course of action, guys. So this may be a few minutes, but either way, we're gonna play some ads, and we'll see you guys soon.